I'm sitting in the privacy room at Adath, just outside of the sanctuary. It's also called the crying room. This is also where families meet just before a funeral to tear their garments and show how death is like the heart tearing, breaking in each one of us. It's very hard to be ready for death. I mean, even in this week's Torah portion, we see that Abraham wasn't ready for his wife's death, the death of Sarah. It says that she died, and it says that Abraham mourned and wailed and cried over Sarah, but quickly within one sentence, it moves to Abraham going to find a burial place for Sarah. He hadn't done that yet. He wasn't ready, as many of us are not. And so I just wanted to take a few moments today to think about what it means. How can we be ready to deal with death? And what things do we need to know about what happens right afterwards? One of the things that you might know is that in the Jewish tradition, we bury our dead as soon as we can, if possible before evening, as is done in Jerusalem and other parts of Israel. And this comes from the biblical verse in Deuteronomy 22, "You must not let the dead remain overnight, but must bury him or her the same day." And it goes on to give this explanation of how somehow not burying someone away causes some sort of impurity. And how can we understand this rule? Well, let me just start by saying, during this short period between when someone dies and the burial, someone's called an onen. They're in the process of aninut. It's different than after the death. And as I said, it's short because we try to bury people right away. And during this time, a person, isn't supposed to drink wine or eat meat, and they're not supposed to do any of the mitzvot they normally do, like praying or to put on their tefillin, but rather just to deal with, and as quickly as possible, getting someone to the burial, a loved one. And then we move into this period of 7 days where grief is very deep, and a person is sitting in their home, they don't go out, they sit on a low stool, they cover their mirrors. And so how can we understand all of this? Burying our dead quickly, attending to the dead before our own grief, but then moving into a period of 7 days of deep grief. I think that what we can understand from the Jewish tradition is that what we're trying to do is, as quickly as possible, move to facing our grief, to facing our deepest emotions. Not going to work the next day, not going out to coffee, not going to a movie, but finding a way to, as quickly as possible, face the reality and the ugliness of death. It's sad, it's heartbreaking. But what's also true, and something that we know, is that our emotions are like shadows passing in the night. They're like a cloud. If we accept that they won't last forever, and if we don't try to avoid them or sit in them for a long time, fearing and feeling like they'll never go away, then they will pass. The point isn't for them to pass. That's just something we need to know in order to enter into them, experience them, fully cry our eyes out, and deal with the harsh realities of life that are difficult. And when we're done with Shiva, we get up, we take a walk around the block after 7 days, and we go back to life. And this is true in any place in our lives, not just with death. That if we deal with the hardest things in life and our emotions, and if we really let ourselves to be in there knowing that they're all temporary but necessary, then we will truly live a healthier life. A life that is healthy in the Jewish way, and hopefully in every way. Wish everyone a Shabbat Shalom.